And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off. It's orange!
Orange 45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. What is it? Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Thanks. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good evening from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. That's right, it's time for another Starlink launch. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and I see your 5x5s in chat, so I know you can hear me well. Welcome to tonight's stream. As always, NSF is rolled out, and we are bringing you the best views of tonight's launch that we can. Facilitated by the ever-wonderful Max. Max, how are you doing tonight?
Jack, I'm doing great. Slick 40 is looking lovely tonight. There's a full moon rising over at my 10 o'clock, and it is a wonderful evening here on the Space Coast.
Hooray! There you can see Max's info on the little info card there and his little Twitter handle. You can follow him on Twitter. And also, look, it's the moon. We got a beautiful moon tonight. Excellent. Also joining us on commentary today, we have Sawyer. Sawyer, how are you doing, buddy?
The New York just won, and there's a rocket on the launch pad, which makes it a fantastic evening, so I'm doing great.
Hooray! What the Jets, what is that? Football? Is that football?
Depending on which country you're in, it's football.
It's football. Let's just go with that. Oh, is Chris B watching? Uh-oh.
I saw him earlier.
Cool deal. All right, well, tonight, once again, we are launching a payload of Starlink satellites into orbit. 23 Starlink satellites on today's mission. That's up one from what they had been doing with these V2 minis. This is the Starlink 625 mission. And yeah, that's what's going on. If you have any questions, at NASA Spaceflight in chat, we will see your question pop up, and there's a good chance we could answer it. But Max, you want to give us a quick sit rep? What's the weather like on the ground? Are you being carried away by mosquitoes? Do you need a blood transfusion? How's it going?
Not quite yet. Thankfully, the mosquitoes. See, it's always on cue out here. Whenever the sun goes down, there seems to be a window of like 20 minutes where the mosquitoes come out in force, and you are being absolutely swarmed. It's almost as if they could pick you up and fly away with you. But right now, everything seems to have calmed down a little bit. Lovely temperatures here. The price is looking fabulous. Absolutely clear skies above us. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a full moon off at my 10 o'clock. So hopefully we should get some stellar second stage views as well.
Excellent. And this is going to be a downrange landing, right, Sawyer?
That it is. This will be landing on the drone ship Just Read the Instructions, which is currently located to the southeast of the Cape, and that is approximately 612 kilometers downrange, which is about the normal now for these types of Starlink launches. And if you go about 50 kilometers farther than that, there's another ship there waiting to capture the fairings in hopes of recovering those to fly once again. And fun fact, this will be Falcon 9's 50th Starlink mission this year.
Wow, good deal. And Alex in our back channel letting us know that it's Bob is the fairing recovery vessel for this one. Look, it's like Africa has a smiley face. Aw. And also on Twitter, SpaceX confirming that propellant load has begun for tonight's launch of 23 Starlink satellites from Florida.
And also
all systems and weather are currently go for launch. Sorry, go ahead, Sawyer.
No, I was going to say, confirming that everything's go so far. I know you were asking about the weather before. The original forecast was 90% go from the 45th Space Wing, and it appears to continue to be that way as of now.
Excellent. All right, well, we're getting a whole bunch of support, so let's run through that, and then we'll jump into some questions here, because we always get such good ones from y'all. John Deppner, thank you so much for the gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Always coming out in force with the support. Thank you, John. The Cat's Minion, also gifting 10 Red Team memberships. That's awesome, because now 20 people, also one more from Blushy Boy, 21 people that might not otherwise have the membership program and all of its sweet perks now do. So if you just got a Red Team membership, be sure to thank the person that gave it to you, and also be sure to check out your perks on the YouTube community tab, because there's some good ones. Musical Wolves, thank you for the super chat. They say, happy early Halloween. Do the Vandenberg Starlink missions usually have a much lower Starlink mission number? I think that's because they're going to different shells, right, Sawyer? Is that what the first number there indicates? The 6, like what orbital shell it's going to?
Yeah, pretty much at this point. So, as you mentioned, they're all different shells or different kind of orbital inclinations and altitudes that they end up at. So, all of the ones that are currently in the 7 series right now have been launching out of Vandenberg Space Force Base, whereas here currently on the Space Coast, as is expected by the numbering, we are in the 6 type shell, basically. So, pretty much all the Starlinks with a 6 dash in front of them end up in a 530 kilometer circular orbit.
Good deal. And thank you for that, Musical Wolves. Jared, thank you for the 26 months as a Capcom member. That is awesome. They say, yikes, you bet, concur. Hopefully none of those tonight.
We don't need any more of
Javier, we really don't need any more of those. Thank you, Sawyer.
You're welcome.
Javier with a 4-month pad rat milestone saying you guys are awesome. No, you're awesome, Javier, because you've been a pad rat for 4 months. Cat Herder Cam, thank you so much for the super chat there. They say pun tokens from Rotary Riverfront Park. Is that a thing? Should we know what Rotary Riverfront Park is?
You will
I don't
hopefully
know what that
soon
is.
once we
Absolutely.
complete our how to view a rocket launch video. But yes, that is a fantastic viewing site for rocket launches on the Cape, especially for ones from Slick 40.
Excellent. Well, we hope you have an excellent view tonight. Cat Herder Cam, another one of those names that's been popping up for a long time.
And by the way,
LeGrand Jackson.
I should acknowledge then really quickly that happy National Cat Day.
Aw.
So, shout out to Jake.
Hooray, cats. Shout out to Jake. Chat. Give me some Jake shout outs, because Jake's an awesome kitty. All kitties are awesome kitties. I mean, dogs are awesome too. This is one instance where I'm actually not going to instigate tribalism for fun. Dogs and cats good. I don't have a favorite. They're both good. LeGrand Jackson, thanks for becoming a Pad Right member. All right. Let's do questions. Oh, chat is lighting up. Jake. Any chance we can get like a... Yeah, I was like, can we get a meow on stream? Come on now.
No, I think he left. I think he's sleeping on my bed now.
Aw. Let's see here. Kurt Gulliker, sorry Kurt if I butchered your last name, is asking, what is the next flight for for Launch Complex 39A? What's next out of 39A? Who wants to take this one?
I could take it.
So, okay, go ahead, Sawyer.
Oh, sorry, Max. If you want to take it, go ahead. But if you want to tell them that it's CRS 29 is the next one coming up, you can tell them that.
That doesn't feel very appropriate right now.
I see what you did there. As of now, currently is the CRS 29 mission. That is the resupply mission to the International Space Station aboard Falcon 9 and Cargo Dragon. That is currently scheduled for Sunday, November 5th at 10:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and is expected to be a landing back at Landing Zone 1 for the booster. And a reminder, because it is going to the ISS instead of all the southeast launches, this will be going towards the northeast and typically also includes an instantaneous launch window.
Excellent. Max would almost sound a little bit bitter that he didn't get to answer that one. I guess I should throw you a question next, huh, Max?
I'm doing okay over here. That was all in fun.
Mark is asking, is SpaceX building a crew tower at Slick 40? What's the deal with the new tower at Slick 40, Max? For those of you that haven't been watching our flyovers, apparently.
Or our previous streams. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yes, so SpaceX...
Say no more.
Are you sure?
No,
SpaceX...
please continue.
Okay, so deep breath. So SpaceX has currently, they have completed, at least structurally, a brand new crew access tower over at Slick 40. This was done not only to add redundancy for the NASA crewed missions, but also to add capability for private spaceflight, i.e. Axiom, Polaris Dawn, etc. So this tower has been constructed in various stages over the past couple of months, but it has gone up rapidly. If you just rewind 2 months, all four tower sections, or segments, I should say, were all over at the Roberts Road facility, just all sitting in the middle of the yard. But since then, they've all been rolled out and stacked, and they are almost ready to go. This is the first time I've seen the lights being activated in the tower, so that's a sign of progress. But we don't know, at least from this perspective and in this light, I can't tell if the crew access tower has been moved over there yet. If it hasn't, that is coming very soon. But hopefully this tower should be operational in the not too distant future.
Fingers crossed. Speaking of towers, you know what? Just in the name of a good segue, I'm just going to ask this one, which I usually avoid. But speaking of towers, Norris is asking, what are the 4 towers for LOL? Sawyer, explain the 4 towers for those who might be new. You know what? I'm going to be nice this time. Maybe people are new and they don't actually know what the 4 towers are for, and they're not just making the same joke for the 100,000th time.
It just answered it with the LOL, for lack of lightning. So those are the lightning towers, which, keep in mind, the towers themselves are not the actual thing that is meant to prevent the lightning from striking the rocket or any other sensitive equipment. They're actually very thin catenary wires that run all along that. And in fact, sometimes, especially in the daylight shots, you can see that there's almost like a little square of lines above the pad with that cutout beam for where the rocket flies through. That is where the electricity is kind of collected, run through those wires and away from the pad, as seen on the shirt available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com.
That was buttery smooth. Nice. Good work. James Haig is asking if we can get a hi to Dizzy and WizCats too, please. Hi, Dizzy and WizCats. That I feel like I've just been made to say something wrong, but hi, cats. Hi, all NSF viewer cats. How about that? Everyone gets catnip tonight.
Oh no.
Arturo. Does he freak out?
I want to be able to sleep tonight.
Arturo is asking, how come we don't stream West Coast launches? Well, we do when I'm there. I've also been in Boca Chica for a hot minute. But also, there has been a change recently to what West Coast launches SpaceX give and the base give media access to. So if we can't get a nice up-close view, it's kind of tricky. I mean, we generally, one of our rules of thumb is we're not going to stream a launch if we don't have a good view of the rocket on the pad from one of our own cameras. So it's tricky, but rest assured, when Starship Flight 2 happens and I go back to LA, and there are launches we can get good cameras on the launch site with, we will stream them.
Yeah,
Fear not.
Great views of RTLS missions if they let us on base out at Vandenberg. And a reminder for those wondering, this is actually the second Starlink launch today, because there was the Starlink launch early this morning out of Vandenberg Space Force Base, launching 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. local Pacific time.
Nice. Yeah, it's a little bit painful for me each time I miss a Vandenberg launch, because there was a period of time where very, very few launches happened. I mean, I think there was like a year and a half or like a 2-year gap in between launches at one point. That was not fun. So, but it's nice to see Slick 4 just firing Falcons off left and right these days. It makes me happy, even if I'm a little bit sad when I have to miss them. Let's see. Mike Tanj, I think that's right, is asking, what does the mission number 625 mean? We touched on this sort of a little bit earlier, but who wants to break down the mission number?
I can do that one. So, as mentioned before, the number at the beginning is kind of the shell of the Starlinks. There's been different versions of it. Recently, they finished up the 4- and 5-ones. So now we are on to 6, which is, in this case, as mentioned, a little over 500-kilometer orbit inclined 43 degrees. So instead of, 0 degrees would be dead along the equator, so it's tilted kind of 43 degrees to the southeast, hence the direction it's launching in. The number afterwards is the mission number, so in theory this should be the 25th launch into this 6 series, basically. Keeping in mind, though, that the numbering is very similar to Shuttle in that once it actually gets a mission designation, it keeps that mission designation even if there happens to be a delay or a shift in the order. So again, Shuttle, we would see, STS 121 launching before STS 119. It's the same kind of deal here where we have seen, say, Starlink, I think it was 6-19 launch before 6-18.
Right. The naming can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but at least it's not as bad as shuttles, which I can never wrap my head around. No matter how many times I read, like, oh, this is the fiscal year, and this is the... It's just like, nope, I can't. My brain doesn't work that way. So this is booster 1077, which is the same price as a cheese pizza and a small soda from Panucci's Pizza, where I used to work. But Connor is asking, darn, it looks like an old booster. How many flights on this one? How many flights has 1077 had?
1077 is this making its 8th flight, so 7 up to this point, which included Crew 5, GPS-3 SV06, Inmarsat I-6F2, CRS-28, Intelsat G37, and 2 previous Starlink missions.
Good deal. All on one breath, Sawyer. Good job.
I tried.
Barry is asking what organizations are involved in clearing the quote-unquote range, making it green. That's like the Space Force, and, I mean, basically just the Space Force, right, Sawyer, or am I getting that wrong?
It's primarily controlled by the Space Force, in this case, in particular, Space Launch Delta 45, formerly known as the 45th Space Wing. So that is currently controlled by the Space Force. That is worked, though, in conjunction with people like the Coast Guard to help make sure that the waters are clear, as well as the FAA to make sure the skies are clear, and if basically keeping everything on track for launch, like the rocket itself, which now appears to be the T-minus 20-minute event.
Excellent. That is a nominal vent that we see with Falcon 9 at T-minus 20 minutes, like clockwork, when everything is going properly. Sawyer, they're basically purging out the lines in the transporter erector at this point, right?
Exactly. So up until this point, the second stage has been loaded only with RP-1. That is Rocket Propellant 1, which is a refined form of kerosene. At T-minus 20 minutes and 20 seconds, they basically stop the load of that, and as you mentioned, kind of clear out that line, which you can see by that puff of, I don't want to say smoke, but the vent that's coming off the side there. That will
the
stop.
Vapor, the condensation, yes.
All of that. That will stop at T-minus 16 minutes, which will also be the indication that second stage liquid oxygen, or Loxygen load, is underway.
Good deal. 98 Central is asking, do the Starlink satellites use cold gas thrusters or gyroscopes to orient themselves? This I don't actually know. My impression was that they use their own ion thrusters and they use reaction wheels, if that even. But Sawyer, do you have any more color on this particular topic?
What color you want? Blue, orange, red?
Do you even have to ask that? Orange.
Of course, yes. But anyway, yeah, that's my understanding. Again, for those who don't know, these are dropped off in a non-circular, much lower orbit than their final orbit, and they do have the Hall effect thrusters on the back, which are then used to get them, to raise them into their proper orbit. And I believe, as you mentioned, it would be those ion thrusters that help with the small movements in addition to reaction control wheels.
Cool deal. That's a good question. I mean, all of these are good questions, but that one was a good question.
Yes.
Philip?
And just in case, Alex is typing in the back channel, by the way, so if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll find out in about 30 seconds.
Oh, here we go. All right, well, I'll stall for 30 seconds. Peter, thank you for the 9 months as a Red Team member. They say thanks to NSF for the excellent coverage. Thank you so much. And also to my unknown membership benefactor. Fancy. John, thank you again, John Deppner, for a super chat here. Say, still throwing that N in the last name. Where's Adrian when I need him? Deppner. Dopker. Oh, I am still throwing the N in. Depker. There we go.
Yes.
I swear I'm good at this.
And I did just receive confirmation that is correct. It is the, it used to be the different material. Now it is Krypton that's used, so it is the Krypton thrusters.
Right, so don't let Superman anywhere near Starlink satellites.
Exactly.
Oh, Alex is saying it's Argon now. That's right. Krypton was for version 1 and 1.5. Now they're using Argon, which is cheaper, the cheaper gas to get, and pretty novel.
Well, yeah, that's because if you kept using Krypton, there isn't that much of it, so all the Krypton are gone at that point.
As soon as you started talking, I knew we were going to get an Argon joke, and I'm not disappointed. That was fabulous. Thank you. Robert Clark, becoming a Capcom member. Robert, at Capcom level and above, you get access to our Discord. We have an awesome, thriving Discord with a whole bunch of different channels in it. Whatever tickles your fancy there. We've, of course, got a channel where we dump all of our photos and whatnot from people out here in Starbase, like myself and Sean, and people out of the Cape, like Max and you, Sawyer, and Julia, and just whatever other awesome stuff we can throw in there. We also have a party chat where things get crazy. We have a tech chat where people argue what's better, Apple or Windows. We argue about gaming. In the gaming channel, there's a Starship channel, SpaceX channel, all kinds of cool stuff in the member Discord. It's honestly one of the coolest perks I think we offer. So, Robert, pop into the Discord and say hi. Greg Dietz, thank you for the super chat. Voods, thank you so much for 10 months as a Red Team member. They say, listening to the stream as I fall asleep, hopefully dream of rockets and not Sawyer's puns. Should we also, that's mean, but also, should we do some subliminal messaging or something? Like, buy a bunch of NSF merch if they fall asleep?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure we could just whisper, patch, patch, patch.
Patch, patch. Metal print. Jesus. Paul Sessions, thank you for 11 months as a Red Team member. They say, love watching the amazing things you guys do. Can't believe he been around for this long. Great. Keep up the great work. Cool. Thank you so much. Johnny, thank you for the support there. Very generous of you. They say, did SpaceX trim the minis down to less than 800 kilograms? And can they be used as data servers? Is data storage available on board? Servers in space seems like a path to the future. Okay, that's two very different questions. One, this first question, let's break that down here. Did SpaceX trim down the weight of the minis? Because they were launching 22 a launch, and just recently they switched to launching 23, right? So do we know how they were able to cram another Starlink on top of the stack and still maintain the ability of the Falcon 9 to lift it?
It's called slightly longer firings of the first and second stages, is what we've seen. At least on the last launch, the first stage fired for about an additional, I think it was 8 to 10 seconds, and the second stage burned a little longer as well. The entry burns also seem to touch shorter. So at this point, though, as mentioned, this, we believe, is tied for the heaviest payload to orbit, tied with the previous 23 Starlink V2 minis that were launched from the Cape. So a lot of it is based off of performance, and yeah, the V2s are lighter, but still pretty heavy, so that's why it's 23.
Good deal. I'm sorry, I'm just slightly distracted by Chris B in chat. He has created a poll for the best OS. And also, Apple isn't an OS. They make multiple OSs. This is not how this works.
Well,
Anyways.
What type of animal are they on now?
It's actually California place names, which, of course makes me happy. Although some of the names are pretty bad. Like Mavericks. That's not a good name for an OS, I'm sorry, but Apple is kind of like SpaceX in that they are sort of bad at naming things.
Last time I used it, it was Snow Leopard. That's how long it's been.
Snow Leopard was one of the best releases ever, though. Oh man, they came out in the keynote and said no new features. We're just gonna make the OS work better. and that was Snow Leopard. And there were still some new features, but anyways, way off the rails. Sorry, I'll stop my Apple nerdery. Let's see. Some more questions, how about, as we tick ever closer to launch, just under 13 minutes to go for Starlink 625. Christian is asking, is it possible to see the first booster hit 18 flights by the end of the year? What do we think? Because SpaceX is, continuously pushing the envelope there. I think we're up to, 2 boosters now with 17 flights?
Correct.
Yep. We are
Max, what do you think?
Yeah. So in their fleet right now, in the Falcon 9 booster fleet, there are 2 boosters sitting at 17 flights currently, B1058 and 1060. Based on when they last launched, when they last launched, and the amount of time we have left until the year's over, I wouldn't count it out if we saw one of them fly, or at least one of them fly for an 18th time. I think it's very likely. Absolutely.
I can't wait till we see a booster hit 20. I mean, at this point, each incremental, number that they add on to a booster's flight rate is astounding. But 20 is going to feel, I don't know, just because it's a round number and human dumb. It just seems like that's going to be, kind of a big deal, right?
Not to be morbid, but that's assuming they make it well through the 18th and the 19th flights. Because right now, with where we're at with those 2 boosters, Falcon 9 is pretty much in unknown territory in terms of performance and what it can handle. Because, of course, it's gone through 17 previous launch cycles. So at this point, those 2 boosters are all about data gathering and seeing just what Falcon 9 can handle. Because I think a majority of the fleet right now is beyond what Falcon 9 was ever intended to do. I think it was, 10 flights and then some major refurb. But there's a healthy amount of first stage boosters right now sitting at 11, 12, 13 flights still. And I think there's actually another booster sitting at 16 flights. So the fleet is getting pretty old and pretty experienced.
But a reminder, all right, I'll put the trivia question out to you guys here. Who knows what vehicle holds the record for the most reflights?
Shuttle?
Which
Discovery?
one? Ding ding.
Yeah, Discovery best shuttle. Sorry, Chris.
No, it's Atlantis. It's Atlantis.
It's
Moving on.
Discovery.
I believe it's Endeavor, but for those wondering, yes, Discovery flew 39 times. So
Wow.
Falcon 9's getting there, but not there yet.
It's got quite a ways to go, but yes, and all this is sort of it's worth bearing in mind what Max said, that assuming they get through flight 18 and 19 on a booster, of course, then they get to 20 because numbers, that's how they work. But really, so many of these launches have gone off without a hitch for so long now that it's almost like it's easy to take it for granted, right? And they really are pushing the limits in terms of what the hardware can do, and really just what human knowledge in terms of reusing a vehicle like this is at. So, we hopefully they don't have any issues and they can get to 20 and they can push on further, or they just get to 20 safely and say, okay, 20 is the number, we'll expend them at 21. But either way, really cool to see the state of the art slowly advancing. It would be really nice to see a booster get to 40 launches and beat that shuttle record. I mean, I would feel sort of bad for Discovery, but I would also feel really good that we created such a robust vehicle that could fly so many times. Who knows? Maybe Falcon 9 will get there someday.
And by the way,
what we haven't talked about
just,
in a while?
Just really quick, I do want to point out that Chris said that we need to educate our commentators better because of which is the best shuttle.
Yeah, I think it might be time for another flash poll. But what's the best shuttle? Anyways, Max, what were you going to say?
Well, I was actually going to change the subject. You know what we haven't talked about in a while?
What?
The stubby nozzle.
Oh no!
Boo.
Back to shuttle.
Boo, stubby nozzle.
Speaking of polls that didn't go your way last time you were on, Jack. Remember that?
Nope. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And in case the question does come up in chat, because of the performance needed, the the MVAC engine with the shorter stubby nozzle is not equipped for any Starlink missions for now, at least. For CRS, it might be though.
All right, good deal. No stubby nozzle tonight, so yay!
No.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Let's see, John. Okay, wait. John Depker.
Yay!
There, no N. John Depker, thank you for the super chat. They say, will Starship follow the same numbering system for its Starlink launches for the full-sized V2s? I think we can presume that it will.
I would say so.
What do you guys think?
It has to do with where it's going more so than, what it's launching on. So I would think that, unless they start launching to a totally different shell or, into Group 8, then they might. But otherwise, if they're launching to these same types of orbits, then no reason to change the numbering.
Good deal. Just under 7 minutes to go to launch. Answering your questions, thanking you for support. Juan, thanks for 9 months as a Red Team member.
I got to make this a little more. I got to make this conversation a little more chill because at T-minus 7 minutes is when they start the chill down on the 9 Merlin 1D engines. So basically conditioning them for what they're about to experience at liftoff in 6 minutes and 25 seconds from now.
Right, you don't want to thermally shock your engines. That would be a bad thing to do if you're trying to go to space. Juan is asking, what's the trajectory for today's launch? Sorry if it was mentioned already. It was, but no worries. A lot of people might just be joining. Sawyer, it's a southeastern trajectory today, right?
That is correct. It is, like most Starlinks out of the Cape these days, southeast for those who want the exact. It's 43-degree inclination. And again, depending on your weather, should be very clear skies for most of southeast Florida. So if you're along the Space Coast, the Treasure Coast, Palm Beach, Broward, Miami, you should get a good view.
I noticed you didn't say Best Coast because it's not there on that East Coast. Anyways, Drew, thank you for the super chat. They say SpaceX is pretty noble for using Krypton and Argon. I see what you did there. Good job. John Depker, again, thank you. They say the new NASA ion thrusters exhaust is blue. Why are the TIE fighters red? Don't say it's Timbama gas? I'm not even that big of a Star Trek fan. Or Star Wars. Oh, God, I want to die.
Wow. Wow, Jack.
I want to die.
Somebody clip that, please. We need that as evidence as to why the East Coast is the best coast. Because, of course, Sawyer and I know the actual difference.
Oh, we absolutely do. See, that's what
I don't want to exist anymore. I don't want to exist anymore. The Welsh Padre, thank you for the 5 curly L's. They say, gifting some money in memory of my nan who went to the stars today. Sunday, aged 103. Holy cow. Sorry that happened, but thank you for the support, and here's to one in memory of your nan. Corona Kivo, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Yeah, it's not so easy to make fun of me when we have a serious moment, is it?
Oh, there's always time to make fun of you, Jack. It's just out of respect to others.
It's true. It's true. Angry American, thank you for the support. And it's called College. They have a 5-month Pad Rat membership. They say 80% likes by T-minus 5 minutes, and I will give a membership. Well, it's just over 4 minutes to go now, so I don't know if we hit that, but...
Which I do want to point out, as we hit the T-minus 4 minute mark, at this point, the strong back will begin to retract. That is the part of the transporter erector, the big tall part that you currently see on the left-ish of the rocket from this view. You'll notice the arm clamps that were around underneath the fairing will open up, and it will lean back just a few degrees. We're talking about 2 degrees or so. It will, of course, throw back all the way at T0 when the rocket lifts off.
Good deal. Max, we need to let you go so you can crew a camera. Is that true?
It unfortunately is. So until launch is finished and I'm able to talk to you guys, I will see you on the other side.
All right, Max. Thanks, and Godspeed. Have a good track. Now that he's gone, I can say that stubby nozzle bad.
Yes, stubby nozzle
bad. That's the official position of NSF.
I'm sorry, interrupt you from reading Bideford's support there.
No worries. Bideford, another one of those names that comes out of the woodwork all the time with lots of support. Thank you so much for the very, very generous super chat. They say Windows is best, and
Yes.
I'd be on Discord if only I could figure this one out. I'm on many channels. I just can't get my dense act together here. Ho hum. I don't know if there's a way that I or somebody here can help you, but reach out or, I don't know, send me some screenshots on Twitter or whatever, and I'll be like, click that button. I have no idea, but thank you for the support, Bideford. You should absolutely be on Discord if you so wish. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Todd, thank you for the... oh, God, my cursor just disappeared. Oh, my God.
That's because you're not using Windows. At this point, stage 1 LOX load is complete, so the liquid oxygen load is done now on that first stage.
Keep going. I'm in tech support mode.
Oh, jeez Louise. All right. Well, let's see. So the next thing will be the completion of all of the loading of propellants onto the vehicle, which will also be indicated about a minute and a half before liftoff by a big puff of smoke. Again, one final vent that is meant to purge the lines of any residual oxygen that may be in there, gaseous oxygen or RP1. Basically clear everything completely out for the line so that it doesn't accidentally catch fire as giant flames fly by it.
Good deal. All right, I have a mouse again. Everything is fine.
Don't tell
So
my cat that,
that
who just
vent
jumped on
is-
the desk. But anyway,
Wow. There is that vent, that T-minus 2 minute-ish vent.
About
And
one and
like
a half,
Sawyer was
yeah.
saying, that's sort of the sibling to the 20-minute vent, right?
yep, as mentioned, that is stage 2 LOX load completed. So the vehicle now is completely full of all the propellants it will need for liftoff. So the next major thing to keep an eye out for at T-minus 1 minute, Falcon 9 should enter startup, which means the onboard computers will take control of the countdown from that point onward. And that is also when all of the flight tanks are pressurized to their final flight pressures. So that should be in about 5 seconds from now. And that is followed by the go for launch, hopefully, from the launch director about 15 to 20 seconds after that.
Good deal. Just under a minute to go, and so now Falcon 9 will be in startup. Really quickly, Todd Bernal, thank you for the support. They say, nice meeting you today, Jack. Daughter still won't let me have one of the stickers. Excellent. Again, if you catch me out at Starbase, you get a sticker. It was nice meeting you and Aurora, Todd. That was cool to see you guys down there at the launch site.
Coming up on T-minus 30 seconds now. And we are go for launch.
Yes, indeed. 30 seconds to go. Go for launch. I can't wait to hear Falcon 9's mighty roar tonight as it lifts these 23 Starlink satellites into orbit.
And we will shut up
Just
and
under
let you
20
actually
seconds to
hear
go.
those engine sounds, by the way. So we will be quiet through most of the liftoff there.
I make
And
no
we
promises.
have an abort.
T-minus 10.
Hold,
Nine.
hold,
Oh, dang it. Well,
we are standing by for the exact reasoning, but at this point, it appears an abort has been called.
right then. Well, you know what? It's better to be on the ground wishing you were in the sky than being in the sky and wishing you were on the ground.
Yes, one of the all-time great quotes, although not great when you want to lift off.
Right.
The abort was officially
But-
called at T-minus 30 seconds, FYI.
All right. Well, my immediate question is, they had multiple opportunities to launch tonight. Does this mean no launch tonight, or is there some sort of recycle and retry later that is possible?
Currently, it's listed as a countdown hold, but keeping in mind that they don't have a lot of time, basically, to keep everything loaded in there, so they would have to detank and fully retank, which will take a couple of hours. And yes, there technically is still it'd be cutting it close with enough time in the window, so it's not likely that they would be able to continue, but it's potentially slightly possible. The window for this closes at 11:19 p.m. Eastern.
All right, then. Well, I mean, Falcon 9 does use those cryogenic, well, I guess it's super-cooled
And
liquid oxygen.
We have the official word. It is a scrub due to a stage separation center pusher issue
Wow,
relating to
that's
the
a new
pressure
one.
on board. So that will be a 24-hour recycle.
All right, well, that is a little like pusher mechanism that is on the interstage, right? That pushes the second stage away from the first stage at stage SEP.
Right. From my understanding, I was just re-listening to the official call from SpaceX Launch Control there, and again, it appears as if there was some pressure fluctuation issue in relation to that pusher, which is the way that the first and second stage separate from each other. I believe that's the stage separation pusher they're talking about. So it's not like Starship where it kind of uses the just the force of gravity. This one actually has the pushing mechanism inside it.
Good deal. Oh man, I
Not
hope
good
Cat
deal.
Herder Cam is going to be able to get out there tomorrow. Well, not good deal that they scrubbed, but good deal. Thanks for the information.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
Well,
By the
even
way,
though it's a scrub, I mean that's just the way it goes sometimes. Go ahead, Slayer.
was that just you, Jack, that made that noise?
I was talking. I don't know if I made any weird noises. Hopefully not me.
That's fine. Anyway, at this point, though, but yes, as pointed out, there are 4 pushers in total on the vehicle, and the most important main one is the center one of the 4. So, yeah.
Of course, that would be the tricky one. Speaking of a tricky one, Max, do we have you back?
Tricky one. What's that supposed to mean?
It means you're tricky.
I mean, I can be. But yeah, unfortunately, or fortunately in this case, Falcon 9 does not hot stage like Starship will. It needs that pusher in the interstage. So if that's not working or if that's not functioning correctly, they have to abort it. So disappointing, but that is launch life at its most classic.
That's the way it goes sometimes. And as bummed as we are that we're not seeing a launch tonight, I think we'd be far more bummed if there was any kind of anomaly and we had a speed bump in the Falcon 9 program. So this is one of the sort of modern miracles, right? Is the vehicle has a bunch of computers on it and can figure out if launch not good to do. So it's a good thing, even though obviously we're a little bit bummed and wish we'd seen a launch.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel bad for the people that went up. I know there were a lot of people that were going for a particular lunar transit shot with the full moon going on tonight. So apologies to the people
Right.
that were trying to get that shot too, for the photographer side.
Yep, that's just the way it goes sometimes.
And as of now,
Well-
for tomorrow, the first potential launch opportunity that they would have would be tomorrow at 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time at the earliest, keeping in mind, if I recall, there are 8 different T-Zeros available tomorrow as well.
Fun.
Between
You
7:20
know what else
and
is fun?
10:22. Sorry.
No, you're good. What else is fun is thanking people that support us. Let's run through these before we wrap things up here. Merry Old Elf, thank you for the support and the kind words. Anonymous grabbing something from the store. They say, gentlemen, thank you for the excellent work and fantastic coverage of the new space race. Joined L2 level for 1 year. Supporting your efforts is important to me.
Ooh.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Anonymous. And really, y'all, if you're just a fan of the YouTube channel, you may not know that L2 exists, but NASA Spaceflight started off as a website and a forum, of which there is a paid section with all kinds of, let's say, insane stuff in it. And that is called L2. So if you're ever like, what are they talking about with L2? The Lagrange point? What? No. It's a paid part of the NSF forum. You can get a membership to that on the store now, which is a new thing that we recently added. But L2 is awesome. So thank you for the support there, Anonymous.
So many awesome shuttle pictures.
Yeah, like not anywhere else on the internet. L2 is
Correct.
I mean, I don't want to overhype it, but it's an amazing place. You can extrapolate from that what you will. Stefan, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. NRT Stealth, 34 months as a Red Team member. Thank you so much. Dr. M, thank you for the super chat. They say, to my son, Tibininin, and Mini DRM, or Mini Dr. M. Good deal? Oh, Mini Dr. M. Their name is Dr. M, and they have someone named Mini Doc. That's adorable. Tom Yu, thank you for the support. They say, I'm only here for landing. Well, sorry, buddy. It didn't even take off. Lou, thank you for the support. And John Depker. Haha, no N. Thank you for the support, John. They say Fernan. Indeed, Fernan. Sorry we didn't get a launch tonight, Fernan, but hopefully tomorrow night we'll get that and have a good one. Cool. Well, Max, how you feeling, buddy?
Well, I live here now, so scrubs are just another part of the business, so they don't bother me too much anymore. Apologies for everyone who's in town on vacation, seeing a launch and seeing the scrub. It's an unfortunate part of the business, but that just means we get to try again. So, and that time will hopefully come tomorrow.
Nothing wrong with second chances. Hopefully everyone that came out tonight. I'm still thinking about Cat Herder Cam. Cat Herder Cam, good luck. I hope you're able to see this launch tomorrow night.
Yes.
But Max, thanks for being on commentary. We love you. You're the best.
I never know what to say to you exactly, Jack. It's always so cattywampus whenever you're on stream, and I love it. But thank you very much, everybody.
I never know.
I
never know what I'm going to say to you. I just sort of just spit out whatever comes to my. It's like stream of consciousness. So we're riding by the seat of our pants here, but only for you, buddy.
It's like that one scene in the Dark Knight where the Joker's talking. I don't even know what I do. I just do things. But thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We will see you all again tomorrow, and hopefully she's off the ground.
Indeed. Thank you so much once again, Max, for rolling out and setting up the camera and doing all that. We really appreciate it. Also, you know who we really appreciate? Jake! No. Sawyer, thank you again for being on stream. Also,
you're not
Jake.
wrong, but if he's the best, then what am I? Chopped liver? Chopped Star Wars?
Also the best. Also the best. The best isn't an exclusive category. Many things can be the best. They just have to be equally good.
Chopped Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Thank you for having me on.
I don't want to live anymore.
Thank you for having me on, though, Jack. As always, it's nice to have you with these East Coast launches. And unfortunately, it didn't launch, but that just means you'll have to tune back in tomorrow and listen to us blab more about Falcon again.
That's right. All right, well, thank you once again, Sawyer. And, of course, I'm Jack Beyer. Thank you all for watching.
And Patrick.
Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, and thanks for Patrick for being in the background running the stream. But anyways, that will wrap this stream up. Again, they will try again tomorrow in 24 hours. And I will just leave y'all with the knowledge that the Starlink mission from Vandenberg did launch and didn't scrub, so West Coast, Best Coast, question mark? Have a good night.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RTPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes! They go down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.